Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Patreon podcast. This week I wanted to talk about a very simple idea, but something that's been very, very powerful for me personally when it comes to growing as an artist, and that is the idea of the power of free, the power of offering things that you make for free. Now, I know everybody has a lot of very different opinions on this, and I don't want to tell you what's correct and what is incorrect when it comes to this. This is just my personal experience. But I have to say 100% that if I didn't offer a lot of the things that I do for free, I would never have gotten the commissions that I did get, and I probably would not still be writing music. And I think that it's really valuable to understand that people don't want to invest or to purchase something that they're not invested in. That's a better word. People don't want to purchase something that they're not invested in already. And because it's kind of a risk. It's kind of a risk to spend your money on an album that you've only heard a couple songs for, or to maybe buy a game that really there's a demo of it, or there's like a series of GIFs or videos, but that's not the full game, and people have to pay money for the full game. Like you have to get them invested in the product, and that's where the demo comes in. But I'm getting off track. I want to say that when I started releasing music, initially I sold my music at what is generally considered the acceptable rates for it. So I would sell an album for $8, or I would sell I guess really back then I only put out albums. So I would put an album for sale for $8, and once in a while I got a sale, and to offset the costs of physical printing, because I actually did physically print several albums, like some of my first releases. Like there was costs for that, and I wanted to make up those costs. But I got to a point where I started releasing everything for free. Like I went back and I changed all my Bandcamp prices to pay what you want, which I think is really important. Pay what you want is a really powerful thing. And I think that doing that did garner me some kind of an audience, but it didn't really click until I started doing like the 2-hour track challenge, or during the Ludum Dare, which is a weekend game jam thing. There were plenty of times where I sat down and I wrote as many small video games loops as possible during that challenge. So people would be spending, 48 hours to make a video game, and I would be spending 48 hours to make as many loops, small, 20-second audio loops as possible, that those people could then use in their video games. And I feel that creating those audio loops and offering them for free was one of the really big breakout things that I did for my creative work. I was able to not only spread my name out to many, many new people, which is valuable in itself, because organic reach and passive income through Spotify is definitely something that helps in the long run. But I was also able to get my name in front of people who I wanted to eventually work with, which were game developers. And having the opportunity to talk to a bunch of game developers and work basically directly with them in getting my music into their games was a huge way to invest or to get them invested in my music. I can't tell you how many times people have contacted me either through Twitter or email just saying, hey, I used this song in a game jam game, 2 years ago, but now I'm making a new game. I'm making a game that I'm doing for real, and I need music for it. Do you want to license something with me? Do you want to work with me on this project? And I absolutely love the idea that the thing that I offered for free, that was basically like a 45-minute to a 1-hour project to make this little game loop, got people invested in the greater ecosystem of my work. And I think that it's so important and valuable to have those free offers available for people, because it gets them invested in your work and it gets them interested in it, because there's no commitment on their end. They don't have to pay money. They don't have to invest a ton of time to like dig around and find reviews of it or whatever. They can just download it for free and experience it themselves and make their own decisions. And I have to say that offering everything for free, while that might work for some people, I do want to make sure that I have something that if people wanted to support me through, like Patreon or other places, like they do pay for it. And I have since changed my Bandcamp to where I feel are reasonable prices for my albums. My albums are all $1 to $3 each. And I think that that's much more reasonable than asking for $8 to $10 for an album. Even though some of these albums are full length, like it's a personal choice, but making them accessible to me still feels more important than making an extra couple dollars off of one person, because there are a lot of people out there. And if I get more people interested in my music, if it's cheaper, that's more valuable to me than trying to make a lot of money off of one person. So again, like all of this is personal experience. Like I can't speak for everybody, and this is obviously not the quote unquote correct way of doing it, but I wanted to share the power of free, because I think that it's really important that you offer something for free, whether that's like small games that you've made or video game loops that are available to a lot of people. Like there's so many things that you can do that can draw people in, because really once you draw people in, if they like what you do, they're going to look at the other stuff, and some of that stuff might be paid, and that's okay, because like a percentage of people will invest at that point in you. And it's important to be able to bring people in. I mean, the sample packs that I make are another good example for that, where I offer a free sample pack every month, and then everything else is paid. Like you have to pay for it. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like I don't mind giving away something for free, because it brings people into my email list. It allows them to view all the other sample packs I've made. And like, I'm not making millions off of Gumroad in my sample packs, but it's starting to grow. And if it's growing, that's a really good thing, because that at some point might become more sustainable for me. So yeah, that's all I had for that. But it's really something that you should investigate if you haven't already. So that's all I've got. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for being a Patreon supporter. I really do appreciate that. And I'll talk to you in the next one. Be remarkable.